this uh, fourth important metabolic disorder or deficiency disorder, what you can call it as. And this is also found in our country. In countries abroad, it is called as the CRIPS, milk lameness or aldricate, particularly in crossbred animals. In India, in Haryana and Punjab, this particular syndrome is called as the rheumatism-like syndrome, which is like a rheumatism in human beings. And in Maharashtra, it is popularly known as Urmodi. This particular disorder is characterized by softening of the bones, which is it is responsible for a marked drop in milk production, reduced fertility, long recovery period, and sometimes these animals they show pica and suffer from a foreign body syndrome. Its incidence is double to that of postpartum hemoglobin, and it is very common in areas where the traditional system of feeding and farming is being practiced. It is more common during the summer season. It is interestingly more again common in a lactating animals. 95% of the cases they were recorded in lactating animals. Only 5% cases they were found in pregnant animals. That too, the animals which were producing milk as well as pregnant. Again, the disease was found to be high in animals uh, in the late lactation. Very few cases in the beginning, early or mid lactation. Most of the cases they were in the late lactation. This is interesting. In general, metabolic diseases they are common during early lactation, whereas this is the metabolic disease which is occurring during the late lactation. Being a chronic disease, it is occurring during the late lactation. Milk yield wise, again, high yielding animals they are more prone. Feeding pattern wise, again, the animals which are maintained on the dry fodder, they are found to be more susceptible to the osteomalacia. Once the animals start getting green fodder during the rainy season, they start recovering. In general, in all animal species, osteomalacia is caused either by deficiency of calcium or deficiency of phosphorus or deficiency of vitamin D. These are the three reasons, either one or two. They result into osteomalacia. In human beings, generally calcium, vitamin D, they are responsible. In animals, it is osteomalacia. It is due to phosphorus deficiency. The study conducted at our institute indicated that osteomalacia is due to significantly low levels of phosphorus in the diet. Phosphorus was found to be less than 0.1%. High levels of calcium, that is greater than the calcium level, was found to be 1.33% in the diet, and extremely wide calcium phosphorus ratio, it is 20:1. Surprisingly, we have noticed even the calcium phosphorus ratio as wide as 42:1. This is the average calcium phosphorus ratio which we have recorded in our field study. Then the disease develops in a three different. I have classified actually the stages of this disease. So these stages are very important for clinician to know from a diagnosis point of view. The first stage that is characterized only by loss of body weight. Animal is losing body weight. The milk production is usually maintained or slightly reduced. Appetite is also usually maintained. Water intake is reduced to some extent. Fertility is suboptimal, and animals they show some disinclination to. So no characteristic signs they are observed during the first stage. If animal owner is keen in his observations, in that case only the case is noted or diagnosed, noticed during the first stage. During the second stage, the somewhat typical signs they are observed. Particularly, you can very well see this shifting type of lameness. Then here also you can see that animal is very reluctant to move. Animal owner is pulling, but animal owner is not moving and showing some even lameness. So moderate lameness, shifting from one leg to another leg, that is characteristic. During the third stage, again the signs are very characteristic. Animal shows the typical stiff gait, arching of back, initially lameness, that is followed by increase in the stiffness in the gait. It is becoming a progressive day by day. Arching of the back is also noticed. Arching of the back is noticed. Then animal keeps on a knee. Here you can see animal is keeping on a knee. Here both. This animal was sitting on a knee for 5 minutes. This animal was also sitting on a knee. And here you can see legs are moving. Animal makes attempt to move uh, one leg, eh, alternating legs, and tries to get up. It takes a lot of time. This is called as a kneeling. This is a case of permanent deformity. Permanent deformity. The animal remained osteomalacic for 1 year, not treated, and so developed a permanent deformity. This animal didn't recover. Next slide. See here, the arched back posture is very typical. Here, interestingly, you can see the arching of the back is at the wither region. If we observe this particular sign, we can very well diagnose a case of osteomalacia. Here you can see the abduction of elbows, stiff gait, and arching of the back with loss of body weight. Kneeling. Here you can see the abduction of the legs, how the animal is standing. Here also you can see the arching of the back. The biochemistry is important. Hematology is not much important. Usually normal values. Biochemically, there is severe hypophosphatemia. Normal phosphorus level is usually above 4.5 milligram. And here it is 1.9 milligram average. Slight hypocalcemia, serum alkaline phosphatase level is high. And this can be done in any pathology laboratory, and diagnosis can be confirmed. Radiological examination reveals again osteomalacia, softening of the bones. The diagnosis, actually radiological examination is very important in the differential diagnosis of this osteomalacia. The diagnosis of osteomalacia can be made based on the history of high milk yield, feeding of dry roughages. These 2 points, in my opinion, they are very important, and the dry season. So that's a coincidence: dry roughages and dry season. Initially emaciation, then lameness, stiff gait, then arching of back and difficulty while getting up, which increases progressively. Any clinical pathology, severe hypophosphatemia, radiographic, already we have discussed. Here, I would like to throw some light on the differential diagnosis. Many of the veterinarians, they get confused with the TRP. Even in the beginning of my career, I was getting confused with the TRP. And I have seen that some cases of osteomalacia, they were operated for TRP with no foreign body when the X-ray facility was not available. But here, see, in TRP, very important here, just I would like to bring your attention. Here you see here you can see the abdomen also. Tenderness is there, but tympani is there. And arching of the back is marked on the lumbar region. That is the difference. Because in TRP, fever may or may not be present. Then recurrent tympani in 70% cases, impaction in 30% cases. There is marked loss of appetite and milk. In osteomalacia, loss of appetite and milk production is less marked. Stiff gait and arching of back is very characteristic in case of TRP as well as osteomalacia. But here I have mentioned 2 important things. In TRP, stiff gait and arching of back, same gravity, and it is continuous till that foreign body enters into the chest cavity. In osteomalacia, it is a progressive one. Day by day, stiffness in the gait increases. Day by day, arching of the back increases. But in case of TRP, arching of the back and stiff gait, they are constant till that foreign body is piercing. Once it enters in the chest, or once it is passed into the chest, the signs of pain, they are relieved. And this is accompanied by tympani as well as marked anorexia and drop in milk production. X-ray examination may reveal foreign body. One more interesting symptom I would like to share with all of you, that in TRP, generally penetrating foreign body is there. And when its direction is towards the lower side, animal faces difficulty in sitting. And animal remains in a standing position for a long time. But in cases of osteomalacia, in 90% cases I have seen that animal faces difficulty while getting up, whereas in TRP, animal faces difficulty while sitting. There are 10% exceptional cases in which you will find different types of the signs. Here, X-ray examination may be helpful, and slight or no response to antibiotic and phosphorus treatment. Sprain may get, you may also get confused the case of sprain, particularly sprain, it is occurring in males, and osteomalacia is very rare in males. particularly clinical cases, they are very rare. So sprain is observed in males, in females also. If it is observed, then you may get confused. But here you will get a history of jumping, falling, fighting. Onset is very sudden. In osteomalacia, it is a progressive. It takes 1 month. You see, onset is sudden, gait is stiff, and here body temperature, appetite, activeness, alertness, those are not affected. Animal continues to eat. Animal faces difficulty while setting as well as getting up and gives good response to analgesic and anti-inflammatory drugs, no response to the antibiotic treatment. Arthritis, swollen joints are observed. Fluorosis also presents similar picture. But there are certain bales, certain areas where the fluorine content in the water, soil, and feed is high. In those areas, only fluorosis is prevalent. And in those areas, yes, the fluorosis, cases of fluorosis and the osteomalacia, they are present more or less similar picture. But in affected areas, endemic areas, the cases they are occurring in both the sexes. Here, the osteomalacia is common in females. Another is the you see particularly the mottling and pitting of the teeth. That is typical of the fluorosis. That is absent in case of osteomalacia. The last is the treatment. So osteomalacic animal can be treated with mineral mixture, sodium acid phosphate, or a combination of buffered phosphorus preparation with mineral mixture. We have tried at least 6 treatments in case of osteomalacia, and we have seen that mild to moderate cases can be very well managed with only mineral mixture, 20 gram, any mineral mixture, 20 gram per 100 kg orally for 30 days. This is 2 to 3 kg of mineral mixture is required, minimum 3 kg. So on a day, first I used to advise at least 2 kg. And then sodium acid phosphate can be used. Many companies, they are coming with even the IP grade sodium acid phosphate that can be used at the dose rate of 20 gram. Generally 60 gram total 60 gram of sodium acid phosphate can be given on a regular basis for 1 month. Then the third line of treatment, in worst cases, severe cases, give somewhat rapid relief. So initially, for the first 3 or 4 days, we can give a buffered phosphorus preparation, dextrose 20%, and B complex preparation. So that will rejuvenate the animal. Animal will become somewhat alert and active, and this can be accompanied by mineral mixture on a regular basis for 1 month. In some cases, maybe you'll have to continue the treatment for 40 days. But in general, I have seen the recovery starts on the 4th day. On 4th day, you can very well see improvement in appetite and water intake. By 8th day, you can see improvement in the skin coat. And by 15th or 16th day, you will find at least 50% reduction in the, you can say, difficulty in gait. In some animal mild to moderate cases, usually they recover within 15 to 20 days, whereas severe cases, they take 25 to 30 days for recovery. But I am of the opinion that we should continue treatment without any break for at least 1 month. And thereafter also, we should continue mineral mixture to these animals in order to prevent recurrence of the osteomalacia and in order to improve the milk production and improve the productive performance. Here you can very well see the marked improvement in the affected animals after treatment. Sodium acid phosphate, this is the case which I treated some 20 years back. Here you can see the how much weight this animal has gained after giving the treatment. Here also you can see the remarkable improvement. Here also you can see the remarkable improvement. For prevention of phosphorus deficiency, hemoglobinuria, osteomalacia. Hello? Osteomalacia, regular provision of mineral mixture containing phosphorus according to the requirement of the maintenance and production is to be given. That 400 animal weighing 400 kg needs 13 gram of phosphorus, and for milk production, extra allowance of phosphorus should be given. Accordingly, the dose of mineral mixture should be calculated and given to the high yielding animals for prevention of phosphorus deficiency problems. Then provision of adequate quantity of concentrates and grains. We cannot provide a sufficient amount of phosphorus to the affected animals through roughages only. Concentrates are essential. So provide concentrates. And the phosphorus level of the soil can be increased by application of superphosphates at the rate of 125 kg per hectare. That will help in improving the phosphorus status of the forages. So this is all about the metabolic and the deficiency disorders in case of dairy animals.